And we're back here on Liquid Lunch.
Your head's cut off again.
Well, that's why I'm slouching.
In front of his chiropractor.
Isn't that... it's a travesty,
I've
Dr.
been slouching.
You can always recline.
Yeah, but it looks awkward. Doesn't standing upright look awkward? Like, unless if you have a good posture, this is awkward. And I just don't like looking and feeling like I'm intense.
There's certainly that military
There
shoulders
is.
back that feels weird more for women, less for some guys. But I have a classmate from high school, always had it's like he had a coat hanger always, in the back of his shirt.
And
it just looks weird because no one else is doing it.
it's true, but also women are conscious because obviously when we stand up straight, I think a lot more women slouch because of obvious reasons. But
Correct.
Yeah, it just is an awkward thing. And since I've had my boy, I slouch more, I've noticed. Because I usually walk pretty straight, but...
Because of your papoose?
Well, it's because of how I hold him and I feed him, and it just puts you in that slouchy mama pose.
There is a nurturing, close your arms, bring yourself down.
And then your shoulders go in.
Do I ask what papoose is?
Well,
it's the Inuit women with their children. They wrap them around, and
okay.
That way they can walk around.
Which is nice. I love that. That's what I did for months with my kid. Not their style, but...
I think it's Grassroots is a store in Bloor. They have the natural slings. It's just the most nurturing way, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
It's good for those kids to have that kind of nurturing.
It's the security buildup. It starts there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, Dr. Josh, great to see you. You brought in a little piece of technology here, and I guess we're going to be talking about some of the unique techniques that you use.
Correct.
In practice.
This is just a model that, we're going to watch a video shortly that I finally took of me adjusting with my, well, not my technique, but the Thompson terminal point technique, the accurate name, which is just a really gentle, physics-based method to adjust the spine and the nervous system gently. There's enough aggressive forms of chiropractic out there. There's enough people who have hesitance to walk in the front door based on either who they've spoken to or the thoughts of they're going to do what and twist me and torque me. And as we'll see, it's so smooth. Okay. The bodies barely move. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's really just again a stimulus to wake up the nervous system, that third layer in the body.
We
the
did
third
a
layer.
show on that, didn't we?
We did one.
Okay. Do you want to watch the video now?
Sure. Let's. Yes.
And do you want to talk over it?
I'll talk to you a little bit just so people know, because my voice is pretty silent in there. Yes.
All right. So let's do this, and then we will. Well, we're not going anywhere. We're going to be right here talking about it as we see it. As soon as it. Here we go.
Here we go.
Are you talking over it? Yeah.
So at the beginning of every adjustment, I do a leg length analysis. And you'll hear my voice just whispering in the background, but it's looking for a contracted leg or an imbalance of leg lengths, and that's a system to tell me where I'm going to be adjusting.
You did this to me, Dr. Josh.
I did.
Me too.
I did. So there's the analysis and just checking, and I go back and forth to the feet just to make sure I'm about to adjust in a precise area versus just the general area. I can't be any less than precise. It just doesn't jive with my personality.
So it's interesting because when you measure the leg length.
And here is just how gentle.
Oh.
Doesn't sound gentle.
Doesn't
but it
sound
is.
gentle because the table makes a lot of racket, and we'll demonstrate that here too.
Man,
but
did your hand move quick?
It's just a quick impulse, and as you see, the body doesn't go anywhere. And the pelvis, the same thing. It's more adjustments.
You can see the table moving underneath.
Table's moving underneath. We can get a close-up of that here. You were asking about the leg lengths, though. You were mentioning.
Well, and then you did the adjustment. You'd think that the adjustment would be made closer to the legs or closer to where the legs join, but you're adjusting at the top of the neck.
Correct, and I'll explain that after we watch and elaborate. So most of the work I do is at the cervical spine and the pelvis, They have talked about a twisted towel. I mentioned to you either here or in the office that if there's enough tension along the spinal column, spinal cord, and just a second adjustment with the female, basically the same, that tension, that might result in the center of the towel can't be unwound unless you take care of the other ends.
Right.
And that's why a lot of adjusting is just right below the skull and right at the hips.
Okay, so C2, we're going to set that tension.
So I blocked my hand a little bit in this side with this adjustment, but
Just gonna sit up.
so the head just tilts to the side for the adjustment, and again, table drop. No discomfort to the patient, maybe a little abrupt
And short leg goes
reaction,
Mm-hmm.
but usually just emotionally. Like, oh, what just happened?
Ouch. Yeah, what?
Right.
Whatever that was, it's over now.
2 turns.
Okay. We can stop the video. That's probably the...
Okay, so let's come back. So that's just a little bit of what goes on in your practice.
Correct. So we talked about the leg lengths and how far away I adjust from them.
Yeah.
The technique really revolves around interpreting signals in the brain. And when there is interference, when there is subluxation on the spine and the nervous system, the brain sends a contracting signal down one side and a relaxing signal down the other. And that's most easily measured at the end point of the body, at the legs. So if there's a severe interference point, a leg will come up contracted. And with head turns and checking side to side, I can see a change in leg lengths, and that tells me to adjust in the neck. And when I bend the legs up and down, that's checking for the pelvis. So it's really telling me about the entire spinal column, not just around the legs. It really is a holistic whole body analysis. And the training behind it and the technique is really about analyzing where those elements are, what a head turn and a leg motion actually mean. And then I tend to follow up just with a hands-on check to see if there's any other areas that were missed or that aren't neurologically compromised, but may still be causing some symptoms or some tension or digestive issues or gurgling in the throat.
Right.
So yeah, it's really a go ahead. It's really a gentle approach, but you were something.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just interesting to think that even things like a gurgling in the throat or digestive issues could be related to how this how well the spine is positioned.
That's your
and able
lifeline.
to carry that.
Well, there's always that disconnect. Talking again about the third layer, everyone knows about their joints and their muscles. Almost even little kids know, you've got muscles and the joints and I move. And we all know that we're alive and we function, but lifeline is your nervous system. And the connection of the spinal cord running through the spine, coming from the brain and attaching to every single part of your body is a disconnect point for most people. I had some student volunteers in this morning, and I said, what do you think chiropractic is about? And well, you move the spine, you adjust the joints because it should be aligned. And I say, okay, correct, but why should we align it? Well, because things work better and there's less pain. And that's what most people grasp, even in within a chiropractic specific approach. So I'm constantly filling in that missing link, the missing puzzle piece, that it is about the nervous system. And that's why the system works, and that's why it's really not about the alignment of the spine per se. It's really about the balance of the lifeline. And if it's off balance or under tension, it results in expression through the physiology of the spine. So I use the spine, the bones as levers to turn on the nervous system or to turn off an excited nervous system, and everything works better. And the nerves to the stomach or to the lungs or to the heart or to the tip of your toe. I mean, nerves are connected everywhere. So by healing the lifeline or giving it back its healing power, anything is possible.
So that your body can heal better on its own.
Exactly.
Right.
I've recently updated my intake forms that I have terms of acceptance that basically state We look at the body from a state of, proper health, give a definition, what symptoms actually are, and that I only take care of subluxation. I only look at interference along the nervous system. That may manifest in any number of ways, but that's all I look at. So someone comes in again with headaches, neck pain, problems in the knee. If there's imbalance in tension, I focus on the imbalance in tension. The body heals. It regulates. It uses that lifeline power. And that's why so many things, contrary to popular belief or belief systems, change through chiropractic care.
And I was thinking maybe we can just kind of mention a list of some of those things that people may not think can be treated, with chiropractic.
Don't have enough time. No, we absolutely. No, I'm
No,
just
I
kidding.
mean it's because really, we were talking about it earlier in the week. I mean, a lot of people, they'll have certain problems, and they're going to go to a GP, and they're going to get maybe a prescription for some kind of pharmaceutical that might cover the symptoms, but
Exactly.
but not take care of the cause.
ideally you want to get to the root cause, right?
So some unique thing. I mean, the most commonplace are headaches, neck pain, back pain. That's what people can accommodate to mentally. Chronic fatigue syndrome, multiple sclerosis, cerebral palsy, Crohn's colitis or IBS, the digestive
And those are weird
issues.
like, because they don't really know IBS. They don't really know what that is, right? It's just they haven't been able to pinpoint.
And
at
well,
least-
who's they?
Yes,
that's
maybe
right. That's
I'm
a lot
just
of
maybe I'm
BS,
thinking
no?
the allopathic doctors.
Most times they know it's an inflammation. It's irritable bowel. The bowel is irritated. Colitis is inflammation of the colon. And Crohn's disease, truly it's almost the same disease with 3 progressive stages. At first it's irritated, then it's inflamed, and then it's a disease. To me, it's different stages of chronic nerve interference, and
Right.
everyone I've dealt with Crohn's, IBS, or colitis, and I've had a case of each and more, it's taken a year or less or more, but they're off medication. They don't have to have any meds on any regular basis or even before meals. And there's still a little flare-up if it's a really chronic pattern. But I hear people whose digestive comfort has changed 180 degrees.
Now, okay, so just imagine somebody like that
Yeah.
coming in. I'm just trying to kind of envision the process, but they came in, and I've been into your practice. So, like, and you were using some of those space age
Technology.
diagnostic
Tools, yes.
instruments.
Very cool. Very cool.
Like, for example, can you when you do that kind of initial kind of using this technology to look and see what the situation is, can you say, based on certain interference, which it measures, because it measures the, I don't know, electrical.
It measures electrical signal and
Yeah.
temperature difference,
Yeah.
irritation.
Can you, by looking at that, because you get graphs at the end of that, can you look at that and say, okay, I can see where the problem lies?
Yes.
Okay.
In 99% of cases, absolutely. There's enough correlation between specific organ nerve supply or specific regional nerve supply. Someone with headaches is likely going to show up with a lot of tension on the scan in the upper cervical. Someone with digestive disorders, so I'm holding a sneeze in.
Look at the light.
I don't want to, I'll hold it back for now, it's too loud. Blow the mics. Someone with digestive disorders of varying types or severity will show up with lower thoracic, so the rib cage area, and the upper lumbar, the lower back. That is the most highlighted area and consistent in almost every time that digestive issues is there. Thyroid problems, people who have energy issues or metabolism challenges, or it goes along with chronic fatigue.
Right.
And those are thyroid. You either got an overactive or an underactive.
Correct. So that's specific to the lower cervical spine. People with heart and lung issues, whether it's shortness of breath, chronic susceptibility to bronchitis or bronchial inflammation or infection. It's a cervical thoracic. It's right across the shoulders, and that's big time postural. And just over time, people accommodate. One of my best cases recently was a simple neck pain. He came in 15 years after his wife has been under care, and skeptical for a long time, thinking, well, my wife is here, she trusts him. He came in, and we took care of some of the neck pain. His issue was below the shoulders, and after a progress update about 3 months into care, he says, you know what, my lungs have been less congested. I knew nothing about it before. We didn't take that as a health history. He didn't mention it. He didn't check it off. He said, I just feel less heavy in my chest. And it's absolutely connected to that area. So I say miracles happen because you can call it, give it a big miracle, little. When awesome things happen unexpectedly, they're miracles. So, yes, there's always a specificity
Yeah.
with the scanning, so I can analyze, and x-rays are helpful too with certain patterns of balance, but the scans can tell me very specifically if chiropractic is indicated for that symptom or situation,
Right.
or if it's something else going on that I don't see interference, maybe it's not as applicable.
So basically, you figure out where the blockages are, you release them in order for the body to learn how to replenish itself, do its work properly.
Absolutely correct.
That's the best way I guess I can put it. But did you also want to show us this little cool contraption you have
Well, sure.
that demonstrate how the tables really work?
So you see the big table moving and the
Right.
people on top of it, and quite simply,
No, we're gonna get it close. Oh,
There
here
we go.
get a close up. There we go. So I can just show just a little knob right in the center, and that can have a set tension. The knob, and this is exactly what the table's made of, so I can set the tension based on a person's weight, a person's stature, to make sure that the thrust I'm putting in, let me set it nice and light, can be as simple as a little tap. Now, if I've got someone 300 pounds on the table, I set that tension high, but I still apply the same
Right.
finger-like tapping force. The momentum, following Newton's first law of physics, I won't get into it, but an object set in motion stays in motion until it reaches an endpoint. So when the body has momentum, it reaches the dropping point, it makes a clunking sound in the office. That's when the shift happens and the stimulation happens, and therefore the nervous system gets woken up or quieted down. So it's really a simple technology,
Right.
but it allows, I don't have to, I can show you what it would be like if I didn't have the table. I'd have, that's a lot different force
Right.
than the gentle approach. I wouldn't be able to adjust infants
Right.
like Avery with just a gentle hold and touch, a sustained contact, which would have the same dropping effect. It's stimulating.
Right.
I got a question, Dr. Josh.
Shoot.
I just want to ask, what was it that, I don't know if I've asked you this before, I don't remember the answer if I did, but what was it that got you interested in chiropractic as a career?
What led me here? I'll try and do the short story. Mother took me to the chiropractor when I was about 13 because he said, bring the kids, so she did. He was also a naturopath, so he was a combination doctor at that time. I was adjusted on a 6 to 10 times a year basis, and I felt well. I can't really, at 13, 14, like, oh, whatever, I do my stuff. You don't have a focus on it. I loved sciences, coming from an engineer father and a science background mom as well. I entered high school and graduated high school thinking physical therapy is what's going to work for me. Got to university, took a course, found out a little more about chiropractic from that professor. The information didn't come from my chiropractor, but at 18, 19, I wouldn't have listened to him necessarily anyways. And I went back thinking, I kind of like that. So I went back and I talked to him, and he got excited at that point, said, I think I'm going to go into chiropractic. And then he said, well, what about naturopathy? I said, one thing at a time. I was intrigued by, again, physics, biomechanics in the body. And I looked into massage therapy, I looked into physiotherapy, I looked into osteopathy. And I glanced at naturopathy. I said, I'm a hands-on person. I am a touchy, feely kind of guy. And when everything else was looked into, they all just kind of fell away. And the Red Sea parted, and I saw chiropractic, and I was somewhat hesitant, but the first week of school, I was in love. Like, I just thought, this is jiving with me. I'm excited, I'm passionate, and I'm still in love with it.
How did that feeling shift when you started actually healing people? Because it's one thing loving it and being excited, and then there's the element of, whoa, I'm just made this person better.
The first couple of years is nerve-wracking because you have that act as if, or there's that fake it till you make it confidence. So the first few years in seeing some change, I'm like, okay, this is cool. It's probably been in the past 2 to 3 years as I've readopted the Thompson technique, and I've been pushing on people more gently. I'm seeing amazing things happen. It's a reaffirmation.
Right.
Like I come home from a busy, tiring day, and I'm on fire. I would go out running last night. I feel amazing. I talked to a girl at the running group, and we're running together. She's like, yeah, the school and my adjustments are changing to more soft tissue than specific. And I was talking passionately, and so I'm sure you don't want to talk about this after work. I said, sometimes it's all I talk about.
Right.
And I have to balance, but I said 24/7 I will answer chiropractic questions. I live it. It's a lifestyle. It's in my heart. Yeah. So I kind of fell into it through, call it magical forces, or my mom and the neighbor's chiropractic brother. But at this point, there's no looking back.
That's great.
That is great.
Does that answer your question?
That answers my question.
That's a good answer.
Yeah. So, great, Dr. Josh. Another great little segment here. We should tell people how they can get in touch with you if they're resonating with you.
JoshuaGelber.com is the current site. It is revamping on the same link. As of Monday, it should be re-released with a clearer, more exciting format. There'll be a lot of videos coming people's way to see me, to see what's going on. And if they want to make a direct phone call to get in touch with me, 416-967-4466.
Great.
And the clinic is conveniently located at the corner of Bathurst and DuPont.
That is correct.
Okay, great. All right,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Josh, thanks.
My
again
pleasure.
for coming in today.